We're going to be covering the do-it-yourself mini greenhouse. So the purpose of this talk today is to go over the design of the mini greenhouse. So to show you how easy it is to build and to grow mushrooms and microgreens, and also to talk about the cost of the parts. In other words, I don't want to hide anything about costs for, like I'm going to cover the cost of, what it costs to buy all these components retail because they're available on Amazon. Unfortunately, they've gone up in cost because of the pandemic. So without further ado, so right now I'm looking at the first page of the presentation, DIY mini greenhouse for growing microgreens and mushrooms. And on the left of this slide is a 3D blender render of the mini greenhouse. This is a three-dimensional render. But in this first slide, you can see the rendered version of the mini greenhouse. And it's the smallest greenhouse you can get from Amazon. And you could build this just using PVC, by the way. It's just basically a frame with two shelves and a plastic cover over it. So now if we look at the second picture of the first slide, you can see some actual microgreens that I was growing in my breezeway where I placed the mini greenhouse. And on the top of the first figure, you can see the mushroom bags. We're partnered with a very successful Kickstarter company called North Spore, and North Spore provides everything mushrooms. They provide different kits, growing media, substrates, equipment, dot, dot, dot. And they're incredible humans. And they're also a very successful Kickstarter called North Spore. And you can see in that second picture, you can see the two grow bags sitting above the microgreens. And this is how you place it because the mushrooms give off CO2, which is heavier than air. And of course, the microgreens give off O2, which rises as it gets hot in the greenhouse. So you get some natural CO2, O2 air exchange by virtue of coupling the mushrooms with the microgreens. So the idea is that you keep the microgreens trays going and watered, and you could probably buy a humidity sensor. Maybe there'll be some additional add-ons that will make part of this kit, like a humidity sensor would be helpful, because typically the mushrooms want to be at around 80 to 90% humidity. So when you close off this structure, I might go ahead and add a little temperature humidity sensor that you can stick in there. This greenhouse, is functional. It doesn't require any electricity. It's something you could put in an apartment or a balcony, and it's ultra, ultra low tech. I can ship these to you right now. In other words, you tell me you want one of these, I've got the parts list, I can ship it to you, and I can teach you how to use it. If you want to get fancy and add, sensors and things like that, it's all possible. But I'm really looking more for going down the KISS route. But let me go ahead and get into the second slide. Slide number 2 is just the agenda. I've done the introduction. We're going to cover the basic components. We're going to cover the building of the greenhouse, growing microgreens and mushrooms, and then most importantly, community fundraising and the innovation team and how you guys can help support this project by purchasing, for example, the mini greenhouse kit. And part of that is going to be a donation towards the Dream Habitat project. So on slide number 2, part of the perks that we're going to be doing on Kickstarter, we're also going to be selling fine art. So one of our inventor artists, Maria, and her mom, Irina, are artists and architects. And they're the ones that design the houses, buildings, and skyscrapers, which are already patented, by the way. So they took the greenhouse technology and converted it into houses, buildings, and skyscrapers that uses the same concept. But right now we're talking about a perk for a Kickstarter for the greenhouse. So, one of the perks that we're doing is going to be selling fine art by our beautiful artist, Maria, and her mom. She which is really interesting, she's done a whole bunch of botanical art, which kind of fits really nicely with the Green Dream Habitat project. So the slide number 2 shows one of Maria's incredible artworks. And of course, the plan is going to be to sell art, and a portion of the sales for the art are going to go towards this Dream Habitat and other impact projects. We do also have other artists, DJs, and photographers that are interested in helping in the same way. Basically, they become part of the collective, and then we showcase their art, and then a portion of the art sales goes towards an impact project like this Dream Habitat project, which of course is to bring this food security technology to the world, and we'll be doing it through this Kickstarter. And of course, we're going to be selling some art and other perks in order to allow the community to help. So now, if you go to slide number 3, you can see the same picture where I had just actually harvested some microgreens, and then I made an omelet of them a little bit later. The beauty of these little mini greenhouses, if you put them in a place that's warm, like say your apartment, you can grow. You can actually grow the microgreens and mushrooms all year round, because there's different species depending on the temperature. So you can actually change the species around depending on what time of the year you're operating in. So here in slide number 3, you can see some of the microgreens sprouting. They sprout really fast, by the way. I think I put the seeds on the ground on day 1, and by day 3, they were already like an inch and a half long. I think this was only like day 4 or 5. I've taken pictures of everything, so I can actually give you the exact numbers, because I've been very anal about keeping track of everything I've been doing. Um, so now, if we go on to slide number 4, we're going to talk about the basic components of the mini greenhouse. And it's not complicated, and this is why I was telling Adonis, you want to build these out of bamboo or PVC and some plastic that you recycle. I will help you. We'll get on some Zoom calls, but it's not complicated. This is as easy as it gets. You've got the mini greenhouse on the left. This is slide number 4. It's sitting on a tray, and this is one of those dog trays. To keep your dog cage from getting dirty. And the reason you want that is because you don't want any moisture or stuff getting onto your floor. And also, by putting this over this rubber tray there on the bottom, it kind of seals it up and keeps the moisture inside of the greenhouse. And in fact, you could probably even put some water on that blue tray to keep the humidity up within the greenhouse if needed. But I think that just keeping the microgreens watered and growing, and perhaps adding a little humidity sensor, you'll be able to have some success very easily. By the way, I did teach an older lady that was, I think, in her 70s, had never grown mushrooms and microgreens. She was on a fixed income, and I actually bought her one of these and sent it to her as a gift, and she was able to start growing mushrooms and microgreens. Just to give you an idea, mushrooms are around $15 per pound retail. So, people always ask me that, they say you can't grow money. Well, I would argue that you can grow money by growing mushrooms and microgreens. Microgreens are also fairly expensive at, gourmet restaurants and things like that. So you've got on the left, you've got the greenhouse with the trays, and then the bottom tray for humidity. It's basically a frame with a cover that has zippers on either end. And that's like one kit is the greenhouse, another kit is the trays, a third kit is the mushroom blocks, a fourth kit is the tray on the bottom, and then finally we're going to go to slide number 5. We'll go into more detail on the various components, but now this is the building of the greenhouse. Not complex. I think it took me all of like 10 minutes to build it. It all snaps together and sits on top of the blue tray. So on the left, you can see where I had just assembled the frame. And on the right, you can see the mini greenhouse assembled. with a cover over it and the moisture barrier underneath it, in sitting in my living room. So that's slide number 5. Now we're going to go to slide number 6, and this is the building of the greenhouse, preparing the microgreen trays. Now I suspect there's some microgreen experts probably in the audience, and maybe they can chime in. But I have found a way that I think is stupidly simple. I basically get some of this peat moss. It's forest moss that comes with as part of the kit. And what you do is you just add water to it, and it revives it. And now you've got a substrate to grow your microgreens in, and it's sort of a living substrate in a sense that it's a sphagnum peat moss that's usually used in reptile containers. So that's how I've been doing my microgreens. I just take these trays, I add the moss, I get the moss nice and moist, and I throw some seeds in it. And if you go to slide number 6, you can see that now I've got the greenhouse built. On the left, I've got the microgreen trays on the bottom. I've got the trays on the top for the mushroom blocks. And on slide number 7, right-hand picture, you can actually see it set up in my breezeway with the mushroom blocks on the top, the microgreens on the bottom, and there's my super seed mix on the left, which also is part of the kit. So this kit is going to give you everything you see in this picture: the seeds, the trays, the moss, the whole enchilada, so that you can follow along with this instructable and start growing microgreens and mushrooms in a small area. And now if we go to slide number 8, you can see on slide number 8, you can see the microgreens sprouting. I think this was like on day 2 or something like that. They sprout really, really fast. Of course, I've got the 3D render of the greenhouse there in the middle, and our beautiful 3D artist Wojtek Savada. If you guys need any 3D expertise, he is, my understanding, he's one of the 10 best Blender experts on earth. He's from the Czech Republic, and he's just a brilliant, brilliant 3D Blender, Unity, graphics, character development, game development, etc. If you look at the third picture, you can see, these are all redundant. You've seen these pictures before. I harvested some microgreens, and there on the right of slide number 8, you can see where I made a little omelet out of it. I basically took the microgreens and sauteed them with some butter, added some eggs and some cheese, and I made a very simple microgreen omelet. The mushrooms hadn't popped yet, so I couldn't put mushrooms in it. And that's something that's interesting, is you're going to get lots and lots of trays of microgreens for every mushroom harvest, and that's because the microgreens grow way faster than the mushrooms. So I'm predicting you'll get probably 4 or 5 or 6 microgreen tray harvests for every harvest of the mushrooms. And of course, when you've got both of them going, you can do microgreen mushroom omelet. And of course, these are fresh mushrooms that are literally, being cooked right after you grow them, which keeps the flavor and also makes them nice to look at.